Hey guys, welcome back. Long time no see. How's it going tonight, guys? I was trying to do StreamYard and I got to mess with it. I was just trying to do it on the fly. So I will mess with it and we will get that figured out for next time. But I thought, well, I'll see if I can't figure it out. And then I think my YouTube thing was taking this camera and I just didn't want to run the risk at the last second of screwing it up. So I was like, let it be. How is everybody tonight? Can you hear me? You guys hearing me? Tell me if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I'll drop my earphones if you can't hear me. All right, I'm dropping the earphones. Can you guys hear me now? I don't know how charged these are anyway. I just realized I didn't charge them up after being on yesterday. So we'll just go ahead and drop them off because my luck will be they'll die about an hour in. So we'll just kind of take care of that right now. Different setup now. I kind of like being on the long side of the table. I did that yesterday. And I don't know that I've ever done it like set up like this. And I think it's actually better. It takes care of that sun that usually hits me in the eye from up like there at a certain time. So yeah, and it gives me a little more room to move around. And I've got things kind of situated a little better. So I think this might be a go. So I don't know. Do you guys have fun yesterday? I had a blast. Had an absolute blast. Hey Barb. How's everybody? Let's see. I added, yeah, okay. I added some people as mods and it's not showing as blue at the moment. Now it might show as blue when they start talking again. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna let everybody kind of come on in, but yeah, wasn't yesterday fun? That was a blast. Hey, Sandy, did you get your dinner? I was reading that. So I was reading that you were trying to rush your dinner. Hope you made it. I couldn't believe how fast that time went yesterday. 12 hours seems like a long time, and it is. But man, you know how we lose time when we get on here? Well, we lost time yesterday. It was so much fun. So yeah, I liked it. I know it took a lot out of Liz, but she did an amazing job. She had a great lineup. She had everything lined up so well yesterday. It was just one thing into another and another, and she even ran over because she had that last piece, those key fobs, and yeah, because she was like 15 minutes till by the time they got to the key fobs. They were doing really good. Hard to gauge on how that's going to go because you never know. You start talking, or somebody runs into a glitch, or somebody doesn't run into a glitch. And hey, Nero. Should say Nairo, not Narrow. I do that once in a while. Sorry, Nairo. I don't know why I do that. But yeah. So I know she's tired. I actually slept in a little bit. I was pretty wired when I went to bed, even though I was tired. It took me a little while to kind of wind down a little bit, and I'm sure you guys are kind of the same. But yeah, I was definitely tired. I laid there and my brain was just kind of spinning for a while and had just so much I was processing from the whole day. So it was good. So is anybody going to sew with me tonight? Just want to know so I am aware of who I need to pay attention to and whether they're keeping up with me or not. I think you guys might like this curtain. It's one of those super simple ones that sometimes you just need something and you need it to be fast. And you can make this on the fly so easily. Once you kind of know what dimensions you just need to tweak a little bit, you can make it on the fly. You can make it fit whatever you pretty much got around your house to fit that space if need be. Naira, I was wondering if you're going to see that. I was waiting for you to respond because it wasn't showing up blue on your older conversations. So, yeah. We did so good yesterday after 12 hours. She really didn't have that many trolls, bots, anything like that going on. So I was really impressed. I thought long about a certain hour, all of a sudden, we would just start seeing an abundance of them. Hey, Sandra. So yeah, I was really impressed, and it seemed like it was just mainly bots. We didn't get any goofy people coming in saying things that I saw. So I was totally amazed. Now I don't know if that's because she was on StreamYard. Maybe that helps control a lot of things. I don't know. But hey, Invisible Angel, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do StreamYard and get the double situation going. It was so cute when I was asking Nairo about how she did her little straight on shot, because I want to be able to do that. But I don't want to move one of my cameras. I want to be able to move like my phone. And then you guys can see my ring light over here. But my phone is hooked up to my ring light just because it holds it up for me. And I thought, wow, that I wouldn't have to do the juggling thing like she did, because I could just kind of put the ring light in front of me, work around it, and if I have to, I can look through the ring light itself and see what I'm doing. So I will figure that out. I'll just talk to somebody, but I was trying to do that on the fly, and I knew that was not probably the time to figure it out. So we will have that set up. I've been wanting to try and get that figured out for you. Today's sewing really isn't something too terribly much that you have to watch what I'm doing. It's pretty simple, straightforward. So watching from the side, hey Sierra, watching from the side is going to be good enough for tonight. This, as the year rolls on, though, I know I'm going to have some things I'm going to really want you guys to be able to see straight on while I've got my hands there and stuff. So, oh, okay, cool. Sounds good, Nero. I've got to get that figured out. Got to get it. It was so good. She did so good. My brain was just going, oh boy, I wonder what kind of a juggling act she's doing to get that done. And she kind of was. So yeah, kind of cute. Okay, so nobody's sewing with me tonight. You guys just hanging out. I understand you're probably all a little wiped after yesterday. And this is one of those too, again, where it's easy to go back and watch. These curtains are not going to take much time. They really aren't. You guys are going to be shocked. Anybody that can sew a straight line can do these. So that's all it is. It's just a straight line. Super simple. Okay. So I'll show you what kind of curtain we're going to do. I had to do a mock-up. So I did my sample and stole one of my curtain rods from upstairs. So the curtain rod that I have came with my house, and it's from IKEA. So you guys can get these if you really, really like them. But this is the type of curtain we're going to do. So it's just a real simple one where it just fits over the rod. In fact, do I have that? Oh, I've got those sunk down, so I can't pull that off. So basically it just sits over the rod. You can see, you just slide it on. And then however thick you want to make these is, bunched up, you want to make these is up to you. If you want them to be completely straight, you can even do that. You don't have to do the gathered kind. So that's the one thing I like about this type of a curtain. It's basic, but you can also change it up so easily just to make it look different. So I've got just 100% cotton that I'm using on these. You don't have to use cotton. You can use whatever you want. You can use upholstery fabric made for curtains. You can use anything. Oh, Nairo. Okay, you're going to sew with me. All right. Perfect. Do you have your stuff cut, or are you still trying to cut? And then you can also use whatever rod you want from home. This one, if anybody wants to know, for the pattern tonight, I'm using a 1-inch diameter rod. So the circumference of that is 3.5 inches, but the diameter is 1 inch. And so, you know, it's a pretty standard size. And you can pick up anything for a rod. You can pick up a piece of PVC pipe. You can go get yourself a dowel. They do have also compression rods that you can buy. And they come in a lot of different diameters, but 1 inch tends to be kind of a common size. So this 1 inch and the dimensions that I give you for the pocket will fit the 1 inch. We'll talk a little bit about how to adjust that pocket size in case you have a different sized dowel or rod. Hey, Danny. If you go down in size, you don't necessarily have to change this pocket size unless you really want it snug up like this one. But if it's skinnier, it doesn't really matter if that doesn't bother you. It's just if it gets bigger than 1 inch, you're definitely going to have to adjust the pocket size, obviously, because it's not going to go on. So, hey, Monica. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of the basic one. Nancy. So, Nairo, did you get your stuff cut ahead of time, or do I need to let you have time to cut? We'll also talk about lengths and things like that. This length is good for just like at the top, and that's the length I was giving you. I just did a simple shorter length to have you guys. Okay, that's fine, Nairo. Nairo, what I did actually for mine is 24 inches by width of fabric, and I cut 2 of those. So actually, rather than the 72, I ended up with 84. I just said 72 because I did double the width of the window. But if you just do it by width of fabric, then you're probably going to end up with 84, and that's what this is. And so it's nice and tight and full. But if you really don't want it that full, then again, like I said, you'll just pull that down. You won't use quite as much on your width. So yeah, again, back to fabrics. Let's talk a little bit about directional versus non-directional fabric. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I want to cover that. When we start doing things like curtains and that, and you'll notice this when you're doing your clothes too, you have to lay things a certain way because your pattern goes a certain way. So since this pattern obviously is, the kittens are here and the fans and all that, you want it to be, you got to make sure that the kittens are like, not like this. So when you cut, that's where you'll have 2 pieces of fabric or more, depending upon how wide your window is. Most windows are about 34, 48 inches wide, some running there. So this would work to cover that. It won't be quite as full if it's a little bit bigger than like a 36-inch window, but that's probably okay too. It's still going to have quite a bit of gathering to it. But yeah, so you'll need 2 widths of fabric, and then you have to figure out how long you want your curtains. So this finished length on this curtain from bottom of rod to bottom down here is about 17 inches. You know, you're going to be close. If you are real good about keeping your hem small and keeping this right where it needs to be, then you're gonna hit 17. But so you're gonna be between probably 16.5 and 17 from here to here, just if you're off just a little bit. That's still quite a bit. You know, that's pretty standard for a top of a window. So it's just a little balance. Now, if you want to make a long curtain, then obviously this is going to be too short, but you just have to figure out your rod, you know, how long this is. So this is 2.5 inches here. And then you say you want to do like like you're covering up a bookshelf or something, and say your bookshelf measures 30 inches to where you're going to hang the curtain. So then just measure from where you're going to hang your curtain, go down about 2.5 inches, and measure from there down to where you want the curtain to stop. That's going to give you a rough guide of what your finished curtain measurement's going to be. And then we'll talk about how to kind of add for those extra needed salvages and hems and stuff like that. So let's go back to the directional fabric. Like I said, I kind of got off on a tangent already. All right, so this is what we consider non-directional. So obviously it doesn't matter which way the pattern goes. And then this is the fabric I'm using tonight. This is directional because the fish do matter, whether they're this way or upside down. So real quick, that's directional versus non-directional. Now, directional fabric is where you're going to have to run it and cut it, obviously, so that this hangs down. So you can't cut it like this and have one full piece that's 72 or 84 inches long, or however long you're going to make this, and without a seam, because it's just not going to look right. So you're going to have a seam in directional fabric. And if you want and don't want a seam in the non-directional fabric, you can do that. You can roll out your fabric. You can buy enough to make however long you're going to need to scrunch it up on here. So we'll just go back to say that 72 inches. So you'll make it, 72 inches. So that's about 2 yards. Now you're going to cut it short if it's 24 inches. And so you're going to probably get about 2 curtains out of that 2 yards. And then you wouldn't have a seam. But you can also do seam in those too. And then you just do with the fabric by the 24 inches twice. So my seam is actually right here. Kind of see it. I hold it right. So you see where it does not match up? That really doesn't matter, because when we scrunch it up, you're going to pull that seam, put it in a fold, and you're never going to see it. So I don't ever worry about if I've got a seam, because it gets hidden every single time. So don't worry about it. And the only thing that might be a little iffy is if you do something like this and you get off, and then they're side by side, and you're gonna see that they're off, even if that seam is hidden. So just be aware, if you're doing a gingham or something, you've got to match your squares up. You just do when you do that. Otherwise, when it lays, it's going to be so obvious. And it may or may not bother you. So that's up to you. But I'm just saying that's the time I'd be really careful. And stripes. Stripes are another one that, even if the seam is hidden, if you're got a stripe, like a black stripe here, and it comes, and then all of a sudden your black stripe's here and keeps going, it's going to be pretty obvious. So those are the only ones that you have to be super careful with. Otherwise, the rest of these patterns, you're never going to see it. So anyway, again, back to types of fabric. You can use pretty much anything. I've used pieces of denim, lighter weight denim. I've used faux suede. I'm looking at my curtains over here. That's why I'm like, what did I use over here? And you can buy things on the clearance rack. Now, these are unlined, and I'm doing that on purpose because I want them to be super simple. We can do a lined curtain as well. If you need something that has, like Sierra was asking, yesterday, Danny was asking me this yesterday about how can she make something to hold out the heat and the cold. That would be a lined curtain. You would want a very nice, heavy lining behind a specific type of fabric so that you've got that double protection. And I've made a bunch of those before too. But we're not going to get into that tonight, but I'm just saying that is a possibility. If you guys want to learn how to do that, we can do that as well. It's still going to be the same type of a thought process on how we put all this together, except you're going to be dealing with 2 different pieces that are going to be worked separately, but yet together. And I know that's kind of hard to understand, but they kind of become the same piece of fabric all the way at the top and all the way down the sides. Where they don't is at the bottom where you hem them. And those are two completely separate hems. There's reasons for that, several different reasons. Number one is it helps create a pocket of air in between those two so that it kind of sandwiches things in and helps muffle that sound and the temperatures and everything. You can do them together if you want as one piece. I just don't think they're quite as effective from just what I've done in the past and using them when I was living up north, because I grew up north. So I'm the queen of knowing how to block cold air out. You get really good at it when you have to do it every day, all day for months and months and months. So the other reason is it just looks nicer when it's hemmed completely separate and you pull it up. It just looks really professional. So you pull it apart and turn it around, and then there's like two separate hems, and the back, the lining sits above the bottom one about a half an inch to an inch. And it just really, really nice. And it gives the curtain, it makes the curtain lay really nice. I don't like hemming them together into one because I don't think they lay nice. I think it gets too thick, too heavy, and then the one affects the other. So that's just kind of my personal feelings. Now, if you wanted to do them together, you certainly could. Hey, Mary. So just my preference on that. Anyway, so that's the difference in the fabrics. But yeah, don't be afraid to pick something up on the clearance rack or whatever, because you can do anything. It doesn't have to be a lightweight. It doesn't have to be, cotton. You can do something super lightweight if you want. You can use a sheet. You can use, if you want to do something really sheer, just to have a real pretty like topper, you can do that. Just depending on what you're using the curtain for. So anyway, Mary, I'll show you. This is the curtain we're doing since you came in late. I already showed everybody. This is the curtain. Hey, Budget Life. So we're doing just the simple gathered curtain on the dowel or on your rod or whatever you have. And these are going to be really so inexpensive to make that if you wanted to change out, per season for your kids' room or some other place, you could easily do that. And then, they're so easy to store too, because when you pull them off, they're just one big flat piece of fabric. Iron them up real nice, fold them up real nice. And then, they're just tiny. You can just store them in with your linens and change them out. So they'd be really fun to have, especially for your kids, to have themes. Like for their birthday, they get a birthday one, or for Christmas, they get Christmas ones. Would be a lot of fun. Change up their room a lot, or change up whatever, maybe their playroom, they would like to have that. So kind of nice and fun. And then fabric, and they can almost help you make these because they're going to be so simple. So, and I'm just waiting on Nairo to tell me she's fabric cut. She does want to sew with me. So we're just going to take this easy tonight. I know people are kind of probably wiped out still from yesterday. I have to say, I did go out and get some oatmeal cream pies. Yes, I folded. We'd been talking about those all day yesterday. And then I was watching Liz eating those, and I've been craving them for so long. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I got to have an oatmeal cream pie. So I had to go get some. Oh no, Nancy. Oh man, I'm sure that did not feel good. That's scary too. She hits her head hard after doing some gymnastics like that. So yeah, you guys are seeing a little different. You gotta stare at my dye table back there. It's actually kind of clean. I cleaned it up. Okay, you're good. All right. Nairo, I'm going to have you go ahead and sew the two pieces together. So the very first thing you're going to do after you've cut them is, if you've got two pieces, which most of you will, you probably will not do just the one piece. I'm just saying you can if it's a non-directional fabric. Go ahead and sew your two pieces together. Okay. And I serged mine. You don't have to. I just use my serger because I've got it. So I serged this. Hey, Angela. So I serged these together, and then I serged every edge after I did that. So just letting you know, Nairo, everything I serged. So this is just a real big, long piece of fabric at the moment. And I just saw something I wanted to trim. You know how when you sometimes serge things and you thought you got there it is. You caught it, and you did, but it didn't drop out of the way, and it just kind of surged itself right in. So there it is. Oh, that's not a problem, Mary. Just trimming things up. I'm going to let Nairo catch up with me again. Because I do a lot of this stuff ahead of time so we can talk, and then everybody can catch up at that point. And I've got my my iron and my ironing board over here. This is one of those things where when we always tell you when you're sewing, always stop and iron, 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 iron. You have to when you're making curtains. It makes your life a million times easier. So we will be ironing a lot. In fact, you're probably going to spend more time with the iron than you are with your sewing machine. And you will be so happy you did, because when you go to your sewing machine, then everything's nice and flat and you're not fumbling with your fabric trying to open up or move or whatever on you. You just sew. You just go and sew. So get yourself, when you're going to do curtains and stuff like that, make sure you've got your iron and an ironing board and everything all completely set up. And then I also have a spray bottle of water. Get yourself a really good spray bottle. And my spray bottle, as I've always told you, is my face spray. So when I run out of my face spray, I just keep them and I use them for my water because it sprays so fine on your face. It sprays really nice for ironing. I love these things. So I've got water bottles at several different places that I do ironing, and I'm never missing a water bottle because I've always got a bunch of these. Oh no, that's frustrating. Yeah, yesterday, we had such high winds here. I'm sure you guys remember me saying that right before I was supposed to get on with Liz, it was probably about a half an hour before, my lights flickered like twice. And I was like, no, 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 no. Because I'm very fortunate that whatever pocket I'm in, I don't lose power that easily, but everybody else up here does. And even during our huge winter storm we had last year, they were doing rolling power outages and everything. I never once lost power that entire week. Now, I lost water and I lost other things, but I did not lose power, thankfully. So I was very happy about that. And somebody was trying to tell me once, oh, well, you probably lost power. It was probably just in the middle of the night. It was only 10 minutes. And I was like, no, because I have several appliances that would be blinking when I get up if my power goes out. So even if it goes out just long enough that it shuts it down and starts up, then it blinks and it never resets. So I never had any of that going on. So I know for certain I didn't lose my power in the middle of the night or anything when I was sleeping. So. Wow, that was a lot of typing, Mary. Oh man, Mary, how long did you stay up last night? Hey, Miranda, because you were pretty amped up when we were all getting off. Even though I was still I was wired, but I was tired. I laid down, I was in bed, I was like, yeah, I'm fading, but yet my brain wasn't shutting down. No, if you did the full 74-inch as one piece, Nairo, then you're fine. Hey, Sarah. So all you got to do is make sure you have a piece of fabric that's 74 inches or more. So if you cut one long piece, you're fine. If you cut two shorter pieces, that's when you sew it together, unless you have a really wide window. So if you're doing like a normal sized window, then you're fine with that one piece at 74. Hey, Mary Beth. No problem. We're just getting started. You guys are good. Oh, is Amber on? Okay. I know she was talking about it last night that she might go live today. So all good. Sarah, you can just have 2 different lives going. A lot of people do it. All right, you're good. Okay. So did you serve everything around, Nairo? Because you really want to make sure you've got all your edges either serged or zigzagged, depending upon what you're doing. I bet, Danny. Man, that would be nice. Sandy, you're doing it too with us? I didn't get enough water yesterday, and I was so thirsty when I got up today. I'm just downing water like crazy. Oh, okay, Sandy. Just making sure. Hey, Lavina. So let me know, Nairo, if you just need to have a little bit of time to finish your edges off. So that's the next thing, guys. If you cut one long piece, then you don't have to join them together. But if you cut 2 shorter pieces, then go ahead and join them together. And then either serge or zag all your edges. Okay, so we're going to end up with a piece of fabric that's at least 74 inches long, maybe longer. If you did 2 pieces with the fabric, it might be 84. Okay, yeah, 42, 84. Okay, well, I kind of need you to. I'll wait for you, Nairo, because the next step is a lot of the pressing stuff, and I want you to watch. So. Let's hope, Nancy. Now, just let me know when you're ready, Nairo. Because we're going into the top and the sides all at the same time. It was so nice out today, finally. Oh my goodness. Hey, Elma. Hi, glad you could join. You're just getting in at the beginning, so don't feel like you're running late. Usually do some chatting and let everybody kind of catch up and get in and find out who's sewing with me and let them get caught up as well. So we are making a simple curtain, Sarah. So I'll show you guys again. This is what we're doing. So this is a little valance curtain, and it's all gathered, and you just put it on a rod of some kind. This one is a 1-inch diameter rod, which is kind of a standard size. Or you can use anything, PVC pipe, anything. You can use a compression rod. You can even do a decorative curtain for your shower. Put it on a compression rod, and then put your protective curtain behind. Oh, yeah, Miranda. Yeah. My family's in Omaha. So I saw that come straight through and head all the way across Iowa and come on down. So, yeah. I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. I do not miss this time of year. Do not at all. And set up a little bit here, and I'm going to move the camera so you guys will be able to see when I do the ironing. Oh, yuck. Yuck, Sandy. Hopefully you won't get much. It's not so bad. If it just wouldn't fall on the roads and the sidewalks and your driveway, then it wouldn't be so bad, you know? Yeah, I got out, Miranda. My family always knew from the time I was small I was leaving. They knew I did not like cold weather at all. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Sandy? Life would be so much easier if you didn't have to shovel and worry about all that, especially before you go somewhere. My biggest frustration was I would get up early before I'd go to work. So obviously, you had to be up sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning to go shovel your driveway and your sidewalks, because our sidewalks had to be cleared 24 hours after the snow, or the city never did this, but technically they could come in, and if they decided that your sidewalk was a sidewalk that like took somebody to a bus or whatever, and you didn't shovel it in 24 hours, they would go and shovel it for you and send you a bill. So I always made sure I got up because I was on a corner, and the kids' pickup for their school bus was right across the street from me. So I'd get up and I'd shovel as far as I could and do my driveway and do the street so you can get out. And then I'd get up, go back in and get ready, and wanted to crawl in bed so bad. Go to work, come home. Oh, yeah, the street plows had come by and plowed my driveway shut to the tune of it being 4 foot high. Oh, and it froze too because you got home after the sun went down and you can't get in your driveway. So then you have to park on the street, go in, figure out how you're going to get that mess out. So then you get your mess out. 2 hours later, you pull into your driveway. Oh, yeah, the snowplow comes by again overnight, blocks your driveway again. I cannot get over that. I'm like, I am so done. I am so done. It sucked that I was living on the corner too. That didn't help any, but wow, I'm like, seriously. Yeah, especially at Christmas. Yeah, and that's weird, Mary. Usually the storms always get you. Isn't there something kind of satisfying, Nairo, about that surging of these long edges? I mean, you're not really having to pay attention. You're just plowing through it. At least for me, it is. I sit back and I just, those long stretches, and all you're doing is just going straight. I'm just like, oh, this is so soothing. So anyway, it was so nice out today. The winds weren't blowing. We had 50-mile-an-hour gusts yesterday. It was blowing so hard, and it quit at about 6, like they said it was. And I went out and went up. What did you? Oh, I had to run an errand real quick. This was during Liz's live, and then when I came back, I was eating when she got into the blanket. Long story short, and so Naira jumped on, and then she had to leave. So then at least I was done eating, so I could jump on. But the wind had gone away at that point, and I was like, yes, they were right. 7 o'clock, it picked right back up again. It wasn't as bad though, but it still blew, 15, 20 miles an hour, enough that I was like, okay, I'm over this wind. But today, it was cold this morning, and it was like in the 30s, and it was cold, but it got up to probably 65, 70 today. Sun was out. I was just like, it was so nice out. And I was trying to clean and stay inside, but I didn't want to. And so I did do a little few errands this afternoon and enjoyed every second of that sunshine. It's supposed to be that way for another couple days, and then it's supposed to get really cold again for like 4 days, where it gets down in the 20s at night. And maybe, if we're lucky, it'll hit 50. No sun during the day, and I can handle, 50 is not that cold, but no sun. I can't handle no sun. So, hey, Michelle. Yeah, I hear you, Invisible Angel. I hear you. That it's just so frustrating when they come by and block you back in again. All for nothing. Yep. That's nice when somebody does, because I would have some neighbors every now and then that I would be out shoveling and shoveling and shoveling, and I'd have one or two neighbors that had the snow blowers. And so when they were done doing theirs, they just started coming up the drive or up the sidewalk, and they would go as far as they needed to go just to help people out. And they'd go around the corner, and then they'd kind of meet up with each other. And then, of course, I had some of the neighbors where the husbands would go out and they'd do their little tiny little piece, and I'm out there and it's getting dark. It's getting dark. They know they're my neighbor. They know I'm there by myself. Got this big yard, big. Don't even look at me. Go back inside for the rest of the night. And I'm like, really, really. But at least I had no surprises with that one because I always knew that was going to happen. But I just like, wow, these other guys with snowplows, they're so nice. And there's only one or two of them. And those poor guys work long hours, real long hours. And they're helping everybody else out. And then I've got this guy and that guy and that guy. It's like, whatever. All you can do is laugh. Seriously. It's all you can do. Keep feeling something. You guys, when I show you, I still have not covered my ironing board. Remember last year when I said, okay, this ironing board needs to be recovered. Please don't look at it. Still, again, please don't look at it. It's like really old sheet that I burned through, and I've used it so much, it burned through it, and it's just crispy in one area. So I have to replace that this year. So please don't look at that. Oh man, I can't believe it's Sunday night. Don't I say that every time? The weekends go so quick. And I got a lot done this weekend. I got an awful lot done this weekend. But I still feel like it went quick. And I've got a lot to do this next week. I feel like my first week or so after market, it's kind of like I made it to the finish line. Relax, but I can't relax because I need to keep my pace going because getting ready for next month, and there's always things that come up throughout the month, so you kind of really got to take advantage of those times when you've got either momentum going or you've got a lot of time. And there's just so many times where I'm just like, oh no, I'm just gonna sit here and relax for a few more minutes, and I can't do that. I got to stop doing that. So I think this month I've got my momentum going really good because I really have a lot of things that I know won't take me long that I want to do that are new. And I've been planning on these for months, but I'm like, no, no, after Christmas. And then everything will look fresh. Yeah, 5-day weekend, definitely. Hey, Petra. Hey, good to see you. I remember last night you said you were going to come join us. That's so cool, Michelle. So cool. Okay, while we're waiting for Nairo, Petra, this is what we're doing. We're doing a simple curtain, a simple balance. All right, Nairo's ready. All right, Nairo, make sure you get your iron, turn it on, get it real good and hot. Get your spray bottle of water. If you don't have one, that's fine, but you'll probably wish you had. It just makes life a lot easier for you. I always also pre-press my fabric when I'm doing curtains. I get all the wrinkles out. You can do this one later, so don't worry about it if you don't have your wrinkles out. But that's just me. When I'm doing, especially curtains, when I'm doing this stuff, I always pre-press my fabrics so that they're about 95% wrinkle free, and it just makes my life so much easier. Yeah, everybody. Petra was, I believe she came over from AJ's. last night over to Liz, and she said she was going to join us tonight. So we're real happy to have her here. And yeah, everybody just kind of bops in and out. You know how it goes, Petra. Don't be afraid to hop in the chat and just chat away, because everybody will. All right, I am going to move the camera. Like I said, next time I'm going to try and have the double with StreamYard. That's kind of a work in progress right now. So please bear with me while I move this. I hope I don't make anybody sick. I'm warning you now. I'm moving the camera. All right. So I got to move this too, I guess. Always when you think your cord is as long as it isn't. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go and turn this. It ends up being about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch at the top. And so I usually go to the serged edge and then just a little bit. I leave just a little bit above. So all the way across, when I do that, it's going to look like that as I go across. And then what I do too is I will spritz it. And I'm trying to do this one-handed. Spritz it with water, because that makes it so much easier when I go and turn it. So let's see if I can get my hand to stay here while I do this. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. Yeah, I guess you were better off over there. Okay. So I'll just lead it with my hand. And it's about like that. Okay, so you can kind of see just a little bit above. I know when I first get started, sometimes I get a little off. But you can see just a little bit of that above. Okay. So I'm going to do that all the way across the top. And then we're going to do a different one on the side. So I'm going to do the top real quick. I'm going to put you guys back up there. I'll bring you back down and we'll do the sides. Yeah, we're talking weather right now because of that snowstorm that's coming. The fishy fabric, Michelle, yeah. I thought it'd be kind of cute. I think I'm going to take a bunch of these to market. I need to do a little mock-up so that I don't have to take like that. I need my curtain rod back from upstairs because it's got my blackout curtains in my bedroom. So that was just a temporary thing. I took my curtain down today for the rod and I wanted to wash it anyways. So I thought, well, this is a perfect time since I need the rod temporarily to wash it. So I will it and I'll go back and put it up when I get upstairs. But I'm like, oh man, I'm going to take these to market. I need to do just a little rod. And that way they can see. And actually, I probably should just do the full curtain like that so they can really get a good feel for it. But that'll be the length so that they can see the length. That sounds about right, Michelle. Yeah, in small towns, farmers tend to be able to use their tractors in the wintertime. We always had a nice farmer that would come dig us out when I was growing up. He'd come after he got himself dug out, and once the road grader guy went through and took care of the roads so that he could come up the road, then he would just make his way up to everybody and dig everybody out until he got, to a certain point. There was only a handful of us, and so he didn't have to go more than about 2 miles up the road, but he still had about 5 or 6 families that he was digging out. So it took him a little while, but it was so nice of him to do that. I don't think he ever charged mom and dad for that. I doubt he did. Okay, so I've got all across the top. It is now pressed. Okay, so you can kind of see again the width of the serged edge plus just a little bit more. I was looking for my seam gauge earlier. I don't know what I did with it. I've been searching for that thing for a little while. I don't know where it went. Let's see. I think, yeah, it's about a 1/4 of an inch that I flipped it over. So it ended up being about a 1/4 of an inch. All right, so all the way across the top. Now we're gonna do the side seams before we go sew, okay? Yeah, they don't ask for anything. They're just good guys. All right, I'll bring you guys back down again. This is for the side seams, and we're gonna do this on both sides. This is before we go do anything else. We're doing the side seams, okay? And this is just a finishing technique I like. I think it just makes everything so neat when you're completely done. Gets a lot of the little areas that tend to sometimes get caught and maybe have just a tiny bit of pull put on them right away. It won't happen. So. All right, now this next seam, which is my side seam, I'm going to pull it over so it's about, that's a 1/2 inch. Yeah, fold it over about a 1/2 inch and press it. And that's going to give you a little bit wider and a nicer look to your side. And it also helps it lay nicely. If you get it real skinny, sometimes they tend to want to curl just a little bit. So I like to give it just a little healthier seam on the sides. Now I've done enough of stuff that I don't have to measure it, and you don't really have to either, but if you want to measure it until you learn kind of how, when you eyeball it, what it really is, you know, you don't have to be exact on these measurements here. But yeah, that's about 1/2 to 5/8. And we're going to do that on both sides. Then I hope it to where you'll learn to wear your fabric when you're ironing, because otherwise it'll land on the floor. And if you're like me, then you step on it. That works too, Michelle. Yeah. Now take your serged tail and make sure you tuck it into this 1/2 inch edge you're turning on both sides. And then that way you don't have to worry about going back and putting that tail in. If you forget, you can put it in later. You can run it in with, you know, a blunt needle. I think I got a little carried away there. Got a little wide at the bottom. Oh, yeah, Invisible Angelique, definitely. That way you can sew along with us. Okay, now. Oh, good. So who's getting the more attention, the Dallas game or the sewing? That's the question. You're probably wondering what this little monstrosity is. That's a reskeiner for my yarn. Little sidebar here. I'm just going to give Nairo a little time to catch up if she's still pressing. So I buy the big cones, and then you have to take them from here into a smaller skein. Well, that's a huge mega skeiner. So I set these down, and then I run it through these little loops here, and then they spin around on that, and that makes the skein for me. And there's a counter in the middle. Okay, you're ready. Cool. And get you guys over here. Michelle knew. She did. Yeah, most people don't know what that's for, so I always have to explain. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew the side seams. So we sew these down, okay? So I'm just going to run. I'm going to have to, I just realized my camera is sitting right where my fabric's going to have to go. Let me see if I can work around that. There we go. Oh, sorry guys. Wait a little bit. So what I do is I sew right down the middle of that serged area, and I just put my needle right in the middle of that. And so that's my guide. I sew all the way down in the middle. If you want to sew right at the edge, you can. I wouldn't go any further in because then all of a sudden you're going to have this wanting to turn up. So that's why I try and use that as my guide. And don't forget, let's put my needle down just to see that I'm there. Don't forget to secure by going back and forth, okay? So we will go right ahead and sew that. I usually set my stitch at about a 3 to a 4. You know, and it all depends upon how high your machine goes. Mine goes up to a 5, so I keep mine at about a 3. But if your machine goes up to a 6, then you're going to want a 4, okay? Yes, I'm sewing the side seams first right now, Barb. And I always keep my needle in the down position. So if you have the ability to tell your machine to do that. And I also pull on my back 2 threads just to get it started. That's kind of a little trick until you get to where the foot underneath the foot dog is catching the material. That's nice to be able to just pull on that a little bit. And then just go ahead and sew your side seam. And then just make sure you're catching your serged tail or any tails that you may have in that big side hem. The folded edge, let's see, is the top folded edge on top of the side seam or on the? I think you're meaning, are you looking at it or are you sewing it like this? So you're sewing with the pretty side down, the majority of the fabric, the pretty side down, and you've got it like this, okay? So here's the edge that you turned. Here's your serged edge right there of your side. So here's your 1/2 inch to 5/8 that you turned over. with your iron, okay? Is that what you're asking, Nairo? So it was just like that. Again, the focus thing we were talking about yesterday. Liz, focus, focus. I was like, yeah, I feel the pain. I have that all the time. So just like that. And then let me go to the other side, and I will put that back in so you can look again. Okay. And before I sew it this time, I will pick the camera up and show you. So you see how I've got this little tail right here? I'm going to want to tuck that in here and run that so that it's hidden in that seam. Like that, okay? And then I'm going to sew right on that edge, okay? Let me set that up. Just like that. And we'll go down this part right here, right in the middle. That's correct, Michelle. The 1/2 inch is on the side of the curtain. It just gives you a real nice edge. Let me show you on the finished one so it makes a little more sense. Okay, so see how on the edge right here, here's the 1/2 inch on the back, and this is what the finished side looks like. So it looks real nice. Otherwise, if we did it real skinny, and it would still look okay, but this would be the skinny edge right here. And it's going to be easier to see when we do the blue. But it just, I feel it just gives it a nice little finish, and it makes it lay really nice when it's on the side like that. It's a little wider. The inside out mats, placemat pattern. Okay, I'll have to look that up, Mary Beth. Not familiar with that one. But yeah, that's great. I'm glad you guys are giving me ideas on what you're wanting to see. Trying to keep things simple, but yet also make them things you can build on. Yep, you can do that too, Michelle. And then I'll talk about something about weighting your curtain too, because sometimes you need to do that as well. And it's not like we're going to do that with this, but if you ever hear about, they make these, I guess the easiest way to describe it is these tiny tubes that have a BB about, they're side by side by side. It's just a string of BBs, and that's a weight for your curtain hem. And it's for the real big curtains that are lighter so that they hang nicely. Use 3, Nairo. Use a 3 since you're going to a 5. If you go to a 6, then use a 4. forgot to grab my tape measure over here. See my crazy studio that also ends up being used for a lot of other things at times too. There's times too when I'll use my ironing board just to help me do some layouts and measurements. Sometimes it's just as easier than trying to get to my table, especially tonight since I keep having to move you guys. I hate to do that anymore than I have to, so. Now I won't have to move you guys. Okay, you guys can see a little bit of my back stock of my yarn. Don't have a ton right now. I need to get that going again. I've got several ideas and I'm switching up just a few things on my shop. So I was trying to sell out of what I had and it's going. So now I've got to start moving forward with my thought. Sock sets are all the rage right now. And I definitely want that because when you dye fiber and yarn, a lot of times when that skein is wet, I can very easily ruin the skein just by breaking one piece of it, and then I can't do anything with it. I can't sell the full skein, obviously, because the string is broken, yarn's broken. But with sock sets, I can take that broken skein of yarn, and then we make mini skeins, which are what they use for their toes and their heels. So then I can use that up and make it into several mini skeins, and it's not a problem. So I've got just a handful that they actually, of course, it always happens on the skein that I think is actually the prettiest one out of the batch. So I've got some really pretty ones over there that I thought those are going to be really gorgeous if we do sock sets. So I'm going to start doing that. I've just been saving them until I figured out how I was going to reskein them and what they were going to be for. So got to get in and do that. That just takes time. Whenever you're ready, Nairo, you got your side seams done. We'll move on to the next piece. Of course it would break. Yeah, it happens. In fact, it happened to, was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. And it was when I reskeined this one, because this one I think this is what it looks like when it's reskeined versus, not that it's not good when it's like this, but I just like it a lot better when it's like this. I think it just shows the colors better versus that. So it broke in that process. So not a big deal. I'll just make smaller skeins out of the rest of it. And we'll use it. But yeah, I was going along really good, and then I wasn't. Okay. Let me see Michelle's question and we move on here. I just get in the yarn, Michelle, and then I dye it from there. Spinning takes way too long. I'm a spinner. I do spin yarn, but nobody can afford it. It just takes too long. So yeah, it would be astronomically expensive. Okay, Nairo, the next thing we're going to do you need pins, and then you're going to need either a ruler or a tape or something. But we are going to measure the top rod pocket now. So we're going to be working on the top part. So this is why I'm using my ironing board. Now I could use my table, but I'd have to move everything and move you guys. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to use my ironing board. So what we're going to do is, since you have a 1.5 inch rod, you need 2.5 times that rod size to make the pocket. So if you have a 1 inch rod, then you have a 2.5 inch pocket down. Now it's not the other side, that's just one side. So you need that times 2. So we measure down 2.5 inches on this side. Well, then you got 2.5 inches on the other side. So you've actually got a pocket that's going to be about 5 inches around. But we're only dealing with the 2.5, okay? So, hey, Sandra, we're making a valance, an easy valance. I'll show you real fast. It's right here. So anyways, I was saying the 2.5 goes down here, but then you've also got to account for the back side too, okay? So you've got that full circle. So it's a 2.5, 2.5. So we have a 1 inch diameter rod times 2.5. So that's 2.5 inches. If you had a 2 inch diameter rod times 2, then that would be 5. So you would go down 5 inches, and then you would have 5 inches on the other side. So we're just going to do the 1 inch, and the 1 inch is pretty standard. So take your top of your, where you'd already turned. Okay, so here's your serge at the top. I'm going to lay that down, and you're going to fold it down. Fold it down. Measure it. I'm going to pull it on the white side so you guys can see. So we're going to start at the top here, and make sure you go down 2.5 inches. Oh, of course, that one has a, all right. I'm going to start at the 3 and go down to 5.5 because I had a little picture on my tape where the half was. Okay. So 2.5 inches. And then we're going to pin 2.5 inches all the way across the top. Okay. And then we're going to go back and stitch that. So grab your pins, start at one side and work your way all the way across the full 74 inches or however wide you've got, 84 inches or whatever. And we're working on that pocket, that rod pocket. Just had my pins. Pull out my backup stash here. Yeah, I make bats too, Michelle. They are beautiful. They are so soft. We call it, you know, they're almost like a cloud. And they're pretty enough that you really could just put them in a bowl sometimes and just put them in the centerpiece, but they get dusty. But people do it. They'll put them in vases or whatever. Or if you spin the yarn out of it and you want to decorate with it rather than knit with it or crochet with it or whatever, then you can just take the yarn itself and kind of just swirl it into a clear vase. That's really, really pretty as well. I've done that with Christmas ornaments where I swirled it in the clear Christmas ornament. It was really cool. Hey, Corinne. Didn't see you drop in here. Now, when you're going across and you're pinning, however you need, you don't have to like pin super close necessarily. I pin, as you can see, I'm pinning mine about every 6 inches or so, just to hold it when I get up there and start sewing. Now, if you did join your pieces together, then you're going to want to make sure you line that up when you get over there so that everything falls correctly. That way you know you're not like twisting your fabric or you're not pulling on your fabric and you get to the other end and then you've got like hanging over about another inch or something because it crept. It's just a nice way to know you're keeping yourself where you need to be. And it'll happen, you know, you're going to run into what I'm talking about at some point in time when you're making stuff like this, where either your fabric will creep just a little bit and then you're going to have a little bit longer of an end on that side. When we go to stitch this together, we'll talk about that again and I'll show you what to do. It happens more than you realize, so you're going to be dealing with it. Even when you pin, sometimes it'll still do it. So and this part you want to definitely take your time with. You don't want it to get too uneven because if it does, there's a chance you'll have a skinny spot and maybe your rod just won't go in and then you'll have to take it all completely out. So you won't want to do that and start over. So take extra time, measure, 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 and pin, and that way you know it's not going to change on you. You've got it right there at that, whatever you decided according to your rod it was. But again, this is 2.5 inches down for a 1-inch rod. I'm going to throw one in there because that one kind of looks like it needs one. Every now and then you'll kind of notice it just kind of seems like your fabric doesn't want to lay right in one spot. Then go ahead and just pin it. Is anybody working on anything else besides this? Okay, so like right here, this little piece, because that's right where my seam is. So this little piece kind of wants to pucker just a little bit for some reason. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin that down, and it looks like I may have to kind of just adjust it a little bit. So you're going to see spots like that. So just work them out. And it might be that I just grabbed this spot and moved it over just a little bit this direction too far when I pin that. That could be the only thing that's going on. So I'm just going to pull that pin, pull everything down and lay it flat and pin in that area. It seems like it just wants to pucker a little bit here and there. So I'm just going to put in an extra pin in some of these areas. Oh, cool. So you are a knitter, Petra. So you're definitely understanding what I was talking about on the yarn. Oh, forgot to trim my tails there. Oh, you're doing actual work, Barb. Okay, I kind of popped down to the end down here. I'm getting close enough that sometimes I can have creep happening from that area. And since I was having a little bit of an unusual way that it was laying from the time I hit where I put the two seams together, I'm going to come down here and catch this end and line it completely up, and then work my way back to my next pin back this way. And then that way, if there is any creep that's happening, it'll just kind of magically work its way in. And it seems like it's going to do that for me now. The more you guys work with this stuff, the more you'll learn these little tricks just by doing things yourself. You'll be like, how can I fix that? And a lot of times it's just a matter of starting at the other end and working your way back to where you were. And everything just you just kind of have to move some pins and absorb some of this, because it's actually happening right here. So it has something to do with how, right here, how these fabrics went together. One of these fabrics could have been stretched just a little bit and I didn't know it. Oh man, come on. Ah, there we go. Just get further up. So one of these fabrics could have been stretched a little bit when I put them together and didn't know it. And that's what's causing a little bit of this creep and this gap that's going on here. So I'm just going to work it in with pins, and I'm probably going to add a few more pins in. And then that way, when I go to sew, it just naturally absorbs it in. And that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you're going to get to a spot, and then you're going to have a lot, and it's going to create like that. It's going to create a pucker. And you don't want that. And so if we can kind of keep pinning it and pushing it, it'll help absorb that, and it'll absorb it over the long length, and it'll just magically go away. Now you're going to be working with your fabric a little bit while you do that, because you'll find those areas where you got to go a little slower and maybe just kind of help work it in. It's not going to happen on every fabric, but I'm kind of glad this is happening so that you guys can see how to handle that. So I'm just going to add in a bunch more pins, pin a lot closer together every couple of inches, maybe every inch in certain areas. Just kind of help me keep it in place. So you work it out with your fingers, pin it. And then when you go to sew, you shouldn't have any issues. It should already be worked out for you. And I get a hold of some of those real fine pins that I bought for my knit fabrics. They are sharp. Grab one more. All right. Now we have got it completely pinned. And I'll turn you this way. So you can see I was doing real good, and then this is kind of where it started. You can see it right there even. So I'm going to work that in just a little bit more with the pins. And otherwise it'll create, like I said, when I go to sew, it'll do that. Okay. So I'm just going to straighten my fabric out, kind of guide it to lay flat right where it wanted to do that. I'm going to pin. And then I'm going to work it out through the next couple of pins. Remove my pin and just kind of move the fabric a little, get it to lay flat, pin it again, and do so until it just kind of works its way out. And you don't have it happening anymore. And it will. It'll work its way out. Just don't take the very end pin out ever, because then your edge will not match up. It'll be overlapped just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So if it's laying flat, you don't have to put pins too close together. It's just when you start having a little bit of an area that's not behaving. Hey, Patty. Oh, nice, Barb. Sounds like a good day. Oh, wow, Petra, you did good. Sold 25 your scarves. And I love knitting like scarves and shawls. I know a lot of people get burned out on shawls. I never have. I love them. I wear them instead of a scarf just because I can do so many different things with them. Okay, Nairo, how are you doing there? You're done pinning. Okay, let's go sew, because I ran into that little hiccup, so it took me a while to pin. I'm going to move this over a little more so I have a little extra room here. And I'm going to set, if you pin a lot, always set your pin holder, cushion, whatever, over to either your right or your left, depending upon which hand you are and which you pull pins with. So while I'm sewing, I'll just pull with one hand and I'll just take it and put it over there and put it in my pin cushion or wherever. Okay, so Nairo, you're going to feel this edge that we first turned, this 1/4 inch. You're going to feel that on the top. You're going to sew down the middle of this 1/4 inch turn. For me, all I got to do is locate it. There is one little spot on my foot. Let me show you. Actual foot that I can follow the edge with. So it falls right where you see that line right there. My foot is, so I want to focus, but it's right there on my foot. And I can just run the edge of my seam right along that visually. And I know that it's going to run right down the middle of that 1/4 inch turn that we did. And I just got my thread caught in that. Put it back on. So kind of figure out visually where that's going to be with your foot, or if you have to place like a mark on your foot or something, so that way you know where it's at. And sometimes I can even just run my finger ahead and I can feel it and I can follow according to that. So now we're going to make sure you secure your seam. So back, forward, back, or forward, back, forward, whatever you do. And I run off with one stitch, just one. And that catches over here. We'll catch these two, because it tends to want to pull apart if you don't catch with one stitch over the edge and then back. And then that's where these tails come in handy. When you do that one stitch off, all you have to do is pull on those tails for the most part. If you have to, pick up your foot just once like that to get it going again. And then you're off to the races. Now I'm going to pull my pin and we're just going to sew this pocket. Okay? And until I've got something else I can hang on to, I'm still going to pull on those tails. I love to guide on the back, and you guys see me doing that. That's just a comfort thing I've always done. Some people do it, some don't, whatever your comfort level is, but I always tend to just do that. It helps, for me, it helps keep things going straight. And it'll drive some people to where they'll pull it off the straight line too. So it's just something I've picked up. I'm wearing my curtains, so hang on, it's over my shoulder. So this is what I'm talking about. I've got it thrown up over me, and so that when I sew, it keeps it off the floor. And it also keeps the weight from pulling here because I've got it, and I'm supporting the weight of it up over my shoulder. Now, when I get to the edge where I have a lot of pins, I'm going to go a lot slower because I've got to make sure I can ease in that fabric. If I pick up speed like I'm doing right now, it's going to defeat the purpose of all that pinning that I did because it's going to create puckers. So you just have to go slow in areas like that. Now I'm getting to the area where I'm going to slow down because I had to go back and ease all that fabric in. And then I'm also going over several seams right there. But with as many pins as I put in, you have to go slow because you're going to be stopping a lot. And don't go and start pulling pins ahead either. That's also going to defeat your purpose of why you sat there and pinned as much to help ease it in. So I know if I'm doing really well, I'm going to sit there and pull pins ahead just so I have a longer stretch, but I can't on this one. And resist the urge to pull that very final pin until you get right up to it, because you can easily still have a little bit of creep on that, which will make your edges not line up. And again, just one stitch off. I'll show you what I'm talking about on that one stitch off. Come back, easier to show you on this edge. So I've got, see how I've got the one that goes just right off there. That just holds everything. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's not a big deal. But it's just one thing I kind of like to do if I can remember to do it to help secure just a little bit better. Clip your tails. And we're almost done. Now all we have to do is press the bottom seam and sew that. Let's see what you guys are talking about that I've been missing. Oh, wow, you do tatting too, Barb. I tried to do that when I was littler, and I couldn't get the swing of it. One of these days I will do a video for you guys on my spinning and on my bat making. So I've got a carder, real big carder over there in the corner. Kind of covered up right now with, it's got the poster boards over the sharp points so that nothing can happen to it. And then I've got some roving, colored dyed roving, so they're ready to go in. I think I have a bat. Do I have a bat here? Oh, I do have a bat here. I'll show you that real quick while I'm waiting to see if Nairo is done sewing. These are two of my bats. They are huge. And they're fluffy and they're so luscious. So those are fun. But that's what that carder produces, is these big bats. So Nairo, let me know when you are caught up with me. Hey, Patty. Okay. Yep, we can do that sometime, Patty. Yeah, they're huge bats, Michelle. They're 6 ounces. They are like a small sheet when I get done with them. Okay, you're done. All right, so let's go back over to the ironing board. And we're going to work on the hem. So the only part that we haven't done anything to is the bottom. So for now, as you can tell, we've got our pocket at the top, got our side seams. Now we just have to do this. So we're going to turn this again 1/4 inch with your iron, just like we did at the very top up here when we were going to do the pocket. Okay, so another 1/4 inch turn down on the bottom. We're not going to take a big hem. And if you want to go a little more, you sure can. I'm just going to stay around 1/4 of an inch, so I keep it as close to 17 inches. But if you want to take it up a little more, you sure can. If you want to do a 1/2 inch, whatever you feel at this point, because this is not a critical measurement here, especially if you're just doing a balance, a topper of some kind. You know, a 1/4 of an inch here or there is not going to affect your process or your measurements or anything. So whatever is an easy turn, in fact, mine's probably going to end up being 3/8 of an inch, looks like. And you'll get to where you can just eyeball it. The first couple of times you may want to stop and measure. It's just a hand-eye coordination thing, really, until you kind of get a feel for it. And if it's not 100% straight across the bottom, here's where you can fix it. And just realize, you know, you may take it up a little more or a little less in an area if you didn't get it completely straight across the bottom. Or if you want to resurge it one more time to get it really straight, you can do that. If you are really have to have it at a specific measurement, we'll talk about that as soon as I get my hands free. Almost done here. Corner. So if you really need it to be a specific measurement from the bottom, I'm trying to look where I'm at here. I get my sewing machine right in the way here. Okay, so from the bottom of the pocket to the bottom of the hem, if you need that to be a specific measurement and it really, really, really matters, then what you want to do is you want to lay this on your table, right side up, measure from the bottom of the pocket to that finished measurement that you have to have it, put a pin there all the way across, and then go back. And when you turn it to iron, that pin will sit right on that crease point. I'm going to try and put a pin in there. It will sit right at that crease point like that when you turn it over. So that way you know you're turning it right at that spot that you need that measurement to be at. And you know it's really going to be spot on for you. Most of the time you're not going to have that, but every now and then you may have one area that it really, really matters. It's a real tight area. The curtain can only start at a certain point and it can only end at a certain point. Just going to do a real quick iron here again. It's easier to iron sometimes when it's flat before I put it on something. Okay, so once we've got that done, then we're just going to take it back to the sewing machine and do our last straight stitch all the way across the bottom. And if you have to pin, don't be hard on yourself. Go ahead and pin. This is why I iron though, and I take my time and iron it real hard, and that's where the water comes in too. So if you put water down first and then iron, you don't need pins. See how it just wants to stay there? So just kind of a nice, fast, easy way. Again, secure your ends. Yeah, it is freehand lace, Michelle. It is tatting is lace making, and it's the way lace used to be done back in like the 18, 17, 1600s. And it's done with a shuttle with a hook on the end. And the shuttle has the bobbin on the inside, and it's similar to crochet, but not. There's a whole lot more knotting processes going on, a whole lot more movements. It's beautiful to watch people that know how to do it really well because their hands move super, super, super fast. And don't forget when you're sewing along, if you have that seam down the middle, that it's coming up, and you probably need to slow down because your machine probably won't want to go over it at the speed that you normally are going just on a straight, flat seam. How many times I forget, and then I get hung up on it, and it puts a couple of stitches, like 3 or 4, all in the same spot. Not that it matters, but kind of frustrating. Breaks my rhythm. Yeah, it is going to be a lost art, Barb. I don't think many people do it anymore. No, my mom tried. She used to knit and crochet and sew and do all the things, but I don't remember ever seeing her doing it. But I know we had the book on it, and we had the shuttle, and we had all the thread and everything for it. I think my grandma used to do it, so I think that's why my mom wanted to learn. And I think it was just she got too frustrated, so she gave up. So I tried. I'm done too, Nairo. Perfect timing. So here's the curtain. Now let me, that thing, I put it together. Okay, I was gonna pull the rod off. Let me put it on my other one here, and we'll just kind of fake it. All right, so I've got my compression rod. Let me get my sewing machine out of the way so I can see my computer. Over here. All right, so I have that on just for the sewing machine, so I know I have enough light. So we'll just go ahead and hopefully this end off. Go through. So you just thread it on your rod. And so, however, let me put my end on so I got something to push it back against since I'm just faking this one out. So there we go. And there's your curtain. That's all there is to it. Those are so simple, guys. Now, if you wanted, you can add a ruffle at the bottom. You can do it with the same fabric, a different fabric, whatever you want. You know, you could have where you attach a second, like a sheer piece of fabric over this. If, say, like this was some really cool textured fabric, and then you want to put a sheer piece over it, I would just, you could sew it as one. Or if you thought about it later and you didn't mind this pocket being the same as this, then you could just take and put a hem and sew it right at the bottom of this pocket as a second layer over. I mean, there's just so much you can do with this simple little curtain. So there you go, guys. That's all there is to it. Can't wait to see yours, Nairo. Thanks, Budget Life. What is your first name? I hate using people's moniker names if I can help it. I like to use their real name. Oh, Corinne, you want to learn how to can. Okay. Mary Alice. Okay. Thank you. Or you can do a double pocket at the bottom. So it had a little bit of a ruffle at the top. Yeah, that's a whole nother one. That might be a little further out until you've sewn a bunch of these and you kind of really can think through that. It's not hard, but you've just got to account for that little extra at the top too in all your calculations. Yeah, I don't reuse the lids either. Nope. We reuse the, the secure part of the lid that you screw down on. Thanks, Sandra. So, so we never reused the actual lid part. Always threw that out. But canning is not hard. You just have to have the right pot to do it in, and then make sure that everything gets sunk down. It's such a cool sound after you get done, and you keep hearing these little lids sucking down because they go tink, 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 tink. I love the sound of that. You're upstairs, and it takes a while. Sometimes they go right away, and then there's others that are holdouts, and like an hour later, all of a sudden they go tink. And you're like, okay, they're all there. You can go check too. You can go push on, because if they've sunk down, then they don't move. Oh, that's okay, Nairo. That's okay. I'll show you. This is what mine turned out. I just used my compression rod to put it on to show you guys. Now, if you want a real short balance, then you just, if you're needing just a real short one, you just take it shorter. So change your lengths. You can make them way longer if you need them for like covering a door. You want to cover the whole door, and this is kind of like at the top. You can make them long too, or you can do a second one behind, put one rod in front, one rod behind, make one for the front, one for behind, and you have a double curtain too. Lots of different ways that you can do this. Make them out of lace. That would be so pretty. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, we used to can when I was growing up. My mom would can all of August, all of September, and part of October. And we canned everything but meat. So she would get just tons of like peaches and corn and tomatoes and cucumbers, and she'd make pickles, and she didn't really make jams. I thought that was kind of weird. She would never really make jams or jellies, but we had all kinds of pickles, and just about every vegetable got canned. Lots and lots and lots of stewed tomatoes is what she called them. They were just cooked tomato. And then we would take that and use those to make like soups from, and chilies from, and sauces. And sometimes mom and dad would just eat those. Oh, cool, Nairo. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. So yeah, they would, I could never get into eating. I didn't like eating just a straight cooked tomato as a child. I liked the raw tomatoes. But yeah, we did. Oh man, she'd can for forever. And we had a small pantry that she put all that in. That would keep us going until the following summer. Yep, I'm taking those to market, Budget Life. You got it. I'm going to get my display pulled together now. I just need to get a shorter rod, and I'll probably just grab like a PVC pipe and put one of these on a shorter rod and take it with me, and then do a bunch of them and put them in packages, because you see how fast it goes? These are so quick. And these would be good if you've got a child that wants to learn how to sew. That would be perfect. That could easily be a first project that you do with them, because like I said, all it is straight lines and measuring. And if you're helping them, that could be so simple. Yeah, Mary. My mom would get our tomatoes and our corn from my cousin. because he had a farm. In fact, my whole mom's side, they were all farmers. And so, but he always did like acres and acres of sweet corn and tomatoes for the family. And then when it was time, we just had to go out and pick it. But he'd always plant it for us and grow it for us. And then we'd all go out and pick and can everything. And cucumbers too. He did the cucumbers so that they could, and my aunts all canned too. They all did it. So it was really a crazy season when that time happened because they all seemed to come ripe at the exact same time. You know, we couldn't get like the tomatoes first or the cucumbers first, and then a week later the tomatoes, and a week later the corn. No, it all had to come in the same week. So we had to go get it all, and then we would just be, Mom would be canning, and I'd help her, and we'd can from like 6 in the morning until 10 each night for like a week solid when that happened. And then once that was done, then she'd go buy a whole bunch of peaches and do the peaches and buy apples and do all the apples. And then my great aunt had an apple orchard. So we'd get different kinds of apples from there. And she made some pickles out of some of those apples. And oh, it just never ended. Never ended. It was crazy. And then when we started eating them, then we'd have all the the glass canisters that we had to wash real nice and put away for next year and start it all over again. Yeah, I was never big on canned meat. Mom tried it once and none of us liked it. It just was not our thing. Yeah, absolutely. We had so many pickles, man. We had pickles with every meal except breakfast. Always had pickles on the table. Yeah, that would be good, Mary, because that's another art that could get lost. And it's so easy. People are scared of it, but it's so easy to can. Once you've done it, it's not a big deal. It's just knowing the steps and the process that you've got to do to be safe, because you've got to, obviously everything has to be at certain temperatures and pressures and all that. But once you've gone through it a few times, all that, and it just kind of becomes secondhand for you. And then you don't really have to look at gauges quite as much. You can just glance, but you kind of know the sounds. It kind of all has about the same sound. Oh no, I don't buy canned chicken either. No, Michelle. Nope. Dallas lost. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Of course, I hate to say it, but that's kind of what happens most of the time for Dallas. Yeah, the wax beans. I bet everybody's kind of planting gardens and all that, since it's getting a little harder to find stuff. So did you guys like the sidetrack into kind of the house thing, a little house project every now and then, take you away from kids' clothes and kind of branch you guys out? Was that a good sidetrack? I've got to start planning a little further out now. I want to sit down here in the next week or two and really kind of plan out the next couple of months so that I don't have to think too hard. And I've got my plan right there, because I swear these so long come up. I swear I just get done with one. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's this Sunday again. And then I'm trying to think of something. So I want to try and sit and plan it out and be a little more methodical about it this year. Because I know last year I was winging it quite a bit. Not that it was a bad thing, because I hadn't done anything. So it was real easy to wing it, because it was like, oh, I could easily think this, and this. And then when I ran through all those things, I'm like, oh boy, now it's getting harder to wing it. So I've got to plan it out. So yeah. Okay, cool, Michelle. Yeah, because I know you said Zoa did a fabric box. I did one of those probably about 2 months ago. It's one of my videos. I did it out of faux leather, and it's right here in the stash over here because I use it for market. And where did I put it? Was right there. What did I do with that? Oh well. But yeah, it's one of my videos, and it has the seams on the outside, and I use it for market. I put all my price tags in it, and all of my safety pins that I use to put them on the fabrics. And so I take that with me in case one gets destroyed or I don't have time to price everything the night before. Well, I always get set up and still usually have about an hour to kill. So I'm getting to the point now where it's like, oh, well, I can just price things when they're in the morning. So I make sure I have price tags and my pins in that little fabric box that I made. And that thing is so nice and squishy enough. It sits up, but yet it squishes. So I can just kind of throw it in something. Love that thing. Oh, wow, Michelle. Wow, I forgot about those. Yes. Um, Only if people start printing pictures. If they start printing pictures, something like that probably will be coming back in a new fashion. Yeah. Okay, Miranda. Yep. We can do a dress with a sash, especially with Easter in a couple months, and then, springtime, weddings, all the things that come up. That would be perfect. Absolutely. You bet. And that's the one thing, now that you're talking about that too, is if you guys really want to do some fun things, get yourself some polyester fabric and sublimate your fabric for your curtain. Even if it's just you do like a band just across the bottom, a band on of sublimation. So maybe you wanted to do this being all like a plain fabric, and then you have a band at the bottom that's a print that you sublimate all the way across. That would be really, really cute. Because you could easily, that would even be better, is if you had like some pictures. You know how yesterday on Liz's live, she took the art that her daughter drew and turned it into a shirt and a mug. You could take that same art and put it on that bottom piece of the fabric, or make the curtains with that art on it. And then that goes in your child's room. And so their curtain is all their art. Yeah, we'll do Easter dresses for sure. For sure. We might, I'm going to look and try and find some easy patterns. I know there's some out there, and ones that we can kind of change up a little bit. And if I find more than one, we'll do a couple of them. We'll do one night and one another time, and that way you guys have a couple of different things. But the ones that are always so super cute are what they call the pillowcase dresses. Those are always so super cute. Yep, you can sublimate the wide ribbon, attach it to the curtain. Mm-hmm. Yep, you can do sublimation fabric for your Easter dress. Yep. Yeah, now that everybody's starting to get their sublimation items, because I know a bunch of people got them for Christmas, then yeah, sublimation on fabric is going to be a big thing this year. Oh, you bet, Nairo. It was an easy project, and that's why I wanted to do a curtain to show you guys that these aren't scary. You can do these. Book covers for school books. We're using blue jeans. Maybe that's a good idea. Yep. Yep. Yes, the aprons. Yes. I actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was on my list last year and it fell off my list. So I wanted to do aprons. And I wanted to do not just children's aprons, but I was going to do a mom's apron too. I have some that I have done. They're really cute. And they're done with 2 different fabrics. And then you do like an applique design somewhere on the bottom. And oh, they're so cute. Yeah, I gotta go look at this. Where's my phone? Oh, that's cute. Nairo, that turned out so cute. And you hung it already. Oh my goodness. Look at you go. Yeah, you had one of those. I have a skinny rod like that. I couldn't find it. I was trying to find that to show you guys that, yeah, you can do that with the skinny rod too. Was that with the 2.5-inch pocket, that littler rod? Because it looks really good if it is. That turned out super cute. I love the fabric. Oh, cute, cute, cute. I can't believe you hung it already. You go, girl. Thrift store garment redos. I have done those. Yes, I used to do those about 10 years ago. I was real big into that. So yeah, let me put that on my list for this year too, because I forgot about that. Yeah, I've done a bunch of those. Yeah, we'll definitely do aprons. We'll do thrift store redos. We're going to do Easter dresses. I've wanted to do the pillowcase. It's done with the burrito method that you saw in the scrunchies yesterday, and I want to do one more to refresh my brain. It was a little tricky, I thought, just because there was so much fabric. So I want to do one more and just see if it was because I was fiddling with it or whether I need to kind of look at it and redo it maybe in a certain way to make it a little easier. Maybe it's just a matter of the way they told us how to scrunch it up. Maybe there was an easier way and I just didn't do it that way. So yeah, let me look at that because I really want to do the pillowcases. Those are so fabulous. I did some for myself for my pillows and I love those. They are probably about, how long have I been in this house? I've been in this house 4.5 years. So I did them about 5.5 years ago. And they're holding up so well. And yeah, I love them. So, okay. And Michelle's saying, okay, a t-shirt. Yeah, okay, t-shirts. I'm just going to call it teen t-shirts. Okay. And yeah, we can sublimate that and then do the rips and tears and yeah. That would be good. Yeah, no, Mary, no, they would not like you to make them Easter dresses ever. Nope. I do like that 2.5-inch pocket on that skinny rod. Narrow. It looks really good. I'm glad you didn't skinny that up because I think it might, I don't know, I think it might have looked a little funny. Yeah, in that fabric cute? It's almost looks like it's unicorn. I think it is. Is it unicorn? I think it is unicorn fabric. It's really cute. Yep, that's so smart about that with being able to get the blind up. I'm glad you were able to keep up with me too. That was an easy one to have people catch up because it takes me the same amount of time to do it as it takes you. There is nothing about, hey Ediani, okay girl, you gotta go back and rewatch because your girl needs a curtain. So this is what we did. Super easy. And then this was the one I did ahead of time. And so this is the one that I did tonight. So you can do these, girl. You've already proved to me. I've seen all the other cute outfits you're making your little cutie pie. So you can definitely do that. Yeah, can I show the picture, Nairo? Can I show them this picture? Okay, so I'm going to screenshot it and show you guys here. See if I can get it to focus. Focus on the picture. There we go. That turned out cute. And then it's little tiny unicorns. So the white pieces on there are the unicorns. They're super cute. And she did the really skinny rod. If you can see way up at the top here, it's the real thin rod. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you see those in the store. They're real popular. She did the 2.5-inch pocket with it. And I think that 2.5-inch pocket made it lay beautifully. I don't like when I get the pocket super skinny for those skinnier rods. I think it just looks kind of funny. So anyway, but yeah, that's what she was doing. It came out super good. And like I said, she hung it too. She was just on it. Yep, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense, Nairo. So did your little girls like ooh and ah over it already? Something new in their room? Yeah, they don't step on the bottom part of the curtain and pull it down. Absolutely. And it's just high enough too, where they probably can't reach it very well, so they're not going to pull it down on them. Not that it's heavy and they would get hurt or anything. It's super light. It's just more, oh, what a pain. Oh, they haven't seen it yet. Oh, you're going to have to see if they notice. Don't say anything. Just have them go into the room like they normally would and just see if they say anything. See how observant they are. So, okay, we got some good ideas rolling here for the next ones. That's cool. So that'll give me, hey, Elia, how are you? I know, I think you said that before too, that you didn't get the notification. I think that's a YouTube thing. I think you just probably have to go in and make sure all your settings are exactly everywhere are where they're supposed to be. Because I think if you even miss just one, it really messes with things. I know a lot of people say that. Yeah, Michelle, I know. Some kids don't notice anything, and others notice if you've moved something 1/8 of an inch, you know? Yes, we did that. We did the curtain tonight, Ediani. Yep. So yeah, and now we're going to be back to the every other Sunday again. So, and I'll probably just do a regular live in between the sew-alongs. I don't know if it'll be on Sunday night or if it'll be a Saturday night. It's probably just going to be however it works that week, but Sunday nights are going to definitely be sew-alongs again. All right, thanks, Nero. Thank you for joining. And I think Petra, I think you may have left too. So thanks for coming in. Yeah, YouTube will change things up a lot, Elia. It's just kind of frustrating. So go in there. I know I have to go in and check every now and then just to make sure if I notice something isn't coming through. So yeah, we got good list started here. Let me see what I can find and what I can add to it. Because I know I'll come up with some things too when I'm out searching some other things. I'll run across that. And then when I'm at market too, sometimes I'll see stuff. So it's kind of kind of fun to have that now too, to be able to give me ideas, because I'll see people walking by, they'll either be wearing it or carrying it or something. I don't get a chance to get out and roam around. I wished I did, but it's just such a big market. I can't do it, but when I've got nobody watching, my neighbor would watch it, but I'm not going to ask her to do that. I need to be there. So until I can get somebody who can come with me sometime, then I'm not going to be able to wander for a while, but I would love to. Heck, I'd love to just be able to wander to get lunch. I still bring my lunch because I don't even trust that. It said 11? Did it really? Huh. I wonder why it said 11, because I know I set it for 5:30. That's weird. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. Yeah, I've had that happen to me a few times too. Where it's like, I know I subscribed to them. What do you mean I'm not subscribed? That's weird. That's good to know, Ediani, because I know I set it for 5:30. Weird, 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 weird. I wonder why it did that. YouTube. Who knows? But yeah, I got to mess with that StreamYard too and get that set up, because I really, really, really want to get that. So I've got the two cameras going and I can position one. I didn't like moving you guys around tonight, but I didn't have a choice. That was about the only way I could do it. Man, I can't believe it's already been like almost 2.5 hours. That's why I was like 12 hours yesterday just flew by, because this 2.5 hours just flew by. Man, I'm still trying to catch up. I was so thirsty all weekend, and then I didn't drink enough water yesterday, hopping on and off with Liz. And I noticed it last night when I went to bed, and I drank a ton of water, and I got up this morning and I was still super dehydrated. So I'm trying to down the water. It'll take me till tomorrow and get caught up. Keep looking outside. The cats are out there looking at me. I fed them. They are such mooches. They think I need to feed them like every 10 minutes all day long. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not getting every 10 minutes. Every time you see me does not mean it's time to eat. I can't blame Brian though. But yeah, I want to do this year. I'm going to do a lot of more just regular videos. I wasn't doing that last year because I was having a time just finding time to do those, and they just didn't happen. So now I feel like market's going well. I've got my handle on that, and I've got a handle on a couple other things that were taking my time that I think I can now do it. So that's this year. I want to do some more videos. So that's where I think, like when you want to see like my process for my dyeing, I don't know, I might just do that. Sorry. Eyes are kind of bleeding here. I might do it that way. I haven't decided, or whether I want to do a live on that one. I don't know yet. But little things like that. I want to start showing a few more techniques and things that I think of, like if I'm doing something and I'm like, oh man, that was a great technique, I need to show that. So probably a few more like shorts, some YouTube shorts, doing some little techniques and things like that as I think of them or run across them or they get mentioned to me or something. So that, I think that'll be really helpful for you guys too. Because there's always different ways of doing things on, and I need to start challenging you a little too. We've been doing super easy projects this whole year, setting you guys up, trying to take you to the next step. And by showing you some of these other techniques might be just that next step that you need on a few things. So I can reference those techniques and those videos when I'm doing some of these lives and say, okay, so I showed you another way to do XYZ in its video, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and watch it if you want to see a different way to do this. And so I think that's going to be my focus this next year, is kind of try and push your skills just a little bit further. So I think you're ready. You guys are catching on quick. Yeah, the two cameras, Mary. I definitely need the two cameras. So I've got my phone and I've got my webcam here. So I really I want a position like Liz had yesterday. That was really nice. Really, really nice. It was very helpful that way. She just went from one to the other. Sandy. I know, Ediani, you took to that so well. It just, okay, Mary Alice. Thanks for joining us. Hope we see you next time. Have a great evening. Yeah, you've been pumping out some cute little baby outfits. Oh my gosh, she is just the best dressed little kid. So cute. So, so cute. Sandy, we're going to push you. We're going to make you start sewing with us on Discord. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Ediani, I mean, that little, some of those little outfits you've made, those are good. You need to look at what you're doing there and streamline it a little bit, and then you can start doing those for your shop. They're super cute. The bibs and stuff. Did I see that? I must not have. I might have missed that one. Yeah, that's the way I am, Mary. That's what tonight was. I didn't want to move the camera around, but I had to. I liked your little sunsuit that you did with the ruffles. I know that was that pattern you bought last year. And we were looking at it. That turned out super cute. So cute. I know you've been wanting to do that. You've been talking about doing that since I basically first met you. So you're there now. It's time. You've got your own little models. You've got Xander and you've got your little girls. So let's go. You can do this. Yeah, that's true, Sandy. Yeah, last year. I know, it's been a year, Ediani. It's been a year. Can you guys believe this? I still feel like I've known you guys for a lot longer than that. It's so amazing that it's only been a year, though. I know. Last year, no, we would have never guessed it. This time this year, you would have a little baby girl. There's no way. She was a good little surprise. Hey, Z. How you doing? Yeah, we got to figure out a way to get you fabric, Andy. I wish there was some way we could just somehow bootleg it over the border to you somehow. We'll figure it out, trust me. We will totally figure it out. I know there's a lot of determined people. Mary especially, she's like, I'm just going to throw it over the border. We can get one of those little guns where they shoot the T-shirts up into the stands. We'll just shoot fabric bombs to you. I got to look at something real quick. Yeah, it is. It's hard without touching it. Yeah, I know, because I am so about wanting to feel it. 'Cause there's so many things online that I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. And then I bought like a small piece of it. Wasn't what it looked like. It was a lot thinner and I wasn't happy with it. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad I only got a yard of that. But yeah, it's you got to touch. I agree. I like some of those sites though, if they have like samples where you can order a bunch of samples, that's always helpful. Let me turn this ring light off. I don't need that anymore. I love using that right by my machine, it really does light it up really well for you guys. And I used it actually upstairs. Um, when I do stuff up there, I set it up, and it's my ceiling so up there that I think that helps too. But I shorten it and set it up on the desk. It really lit the area up well. Made the videos look so much brighter. Yeah, yeah. If you know the maker, Mary Beth, absolutely. As they're pretty consistent usually across the board. My cat has I got her one of those little ball track things that they play with. And it has a ball in the middle too that she can't get out because she's pulled the other one in the track out a long time ago. Well, now she's finally playing with the one that's in the middle that she will never get out. It's such a cute little sound. Oh, so true. So true, Mary Beth. Yeah, his fabric is nice. It's got a nice thicker hand to it. Yeah. And then Robert Kaufman has nice fabric too. It always is a good quality. And I'm thinking about those oatmeal cream pies I went and bought. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's funny if Liz would have been on here, unless she's listening and she hasn't said anything. If you're listening, Liz, yeah, the oatmeal cream pies came home with me today. And I did have a few beforehand, and I still want another. Yeah, Moda's got awesome fabric. Awesome. We lost Nancy? You still on here, Nancy, and just listening, or did I completely lose you? Still lost her. I know she said Brooklyn had hit her head when she was just kind of playing and doing stuff, so maybe she had to go. Man, tornadoes that hit Florida. Man, that storm that came through. It's crazy. Just crazy. All right, ladies, I think I'm running out of things to say. I think I said a ton yesterday and then kind of talked out now. I don't know what else to talk about. So it has been 2.5 hours, so I may just let you guys go. I know we're all kind of tired, and it was an awesome day yesterday. So, yeah, there will be a live this next week sometime, next weekend sometime. Like I said, when it's gonna be the off week of the sew along, I don't quite know if it'll be Sunday night or if it'll be Saturday or what. But the sew alongs will be every other week again, and definitely on late Saturday, Sunday afternoon into the evening. I'm thinking I'm like in this 5:30 time better than 6:30. So that's what we're gonna shoot for. So anyway, thanks guys for joining in with me. Thank you for having another chat, and I will speak with you guys again real soon, okay? We'll see y'all later. Bye.